Hey guys, Hades here. Blue Moon. I like Blue Moon. I still have a few more truck driving videos, but we're almost done with them. I've been wanting to do this for a long time, so I thought I'd just do it. I wanted to do this before I started driving again, like maybe right before. I want to tell a few stories about truck driving. So, Hades. I was in the Army for 4 years, from 1992 to 1996, and I drove a truck in the Army. And this first story happened when I was in the Army. Now, we drove 915s and carried these 40-foot trailers that had like a tarp over them. They were small. It was over in Germany, so it was like they're much smaller than U.S. trucks, really. And the trailers were only 40 feet. So they were kind of miniature big rigs. I remember the trailers were so bad. We had this huge trailer yard, and it was basically my battalion that was a transportation battalion. And I remember we'd have to hide the good trailers. We'd go back, move out a trailer or two, and then put the good, because they all had flat tires, the brakes were all fucked up. They were not well taken care of. Even the trucks weren't well taken care of. No offense to Army mechanics, but they really just changed the oil and loved to lube the fifth wheel. Oh. Like we joke, that's all they do is when you take it in for a service, they just put grease on the fifth wheel. Because that's really what it looked like they did. Anyhow, I was driving in Germany. We were only allowed to drive 55, but there was a company there that had the kind of lower ones to haul vehicles, and they were only allowed to drive 35. And for whatever reason, my company, which was 150th Transportation Company, later became 69th Transportation Company in Mannheim, Germany. For some reason, my company one night was hauling the lowboy ones, so we could only drive 35. And German truck drivers hated us. They absolutely hated us. Because there's lots of areas where trucks can't pass, right? You go through these areas, so they have to drive behind us at 35. And this is on the Autobahn, where people could drive whatever speed they want, but trucks couldn't. But they could still drive a lot faster. This was 30 years ago, 35. It's a long time ago. Trucks, it could be over 30 years ago. Trucks, they had some rules. I don't know. I didn't drive civilian there. I just drove for the Army. We couldn't drive more than 55 normally with our normal trailers, and with these like really low flatbed trailers, we couldn't drive more than 35. And my company didn't even haul them, but for some reason we were hauling them once. And German truck drivers didn't like that. So one night we were doing it. It was from like midnight till 2 a.m. or something. One night we were doing it, and of course there's a shit ton of trucks behind us. And finally we got to the end of the, because we were convoying, so we got to the end of the no passing lane for trucks, and this truck, and I was the last one in the convoy, this truck immediately came out, but there's a car in that lane. So the car, he was flying too. He was going, I don't know how fast, 200 miles per hour. He was flying. So the truck bounced between him. I saw this a little bit in my mirror. Bounced between him and the guardrail, and then it came over and clipped the front left bumper of my truck, and then spun out and went like, and I was already hitting the brakes when I saw that shit happening. I'd already started applying the brakes. Hit the front of my vehicle, spun around, crashed into the guardrail on this side, and just slid down like, I don't know, 100 feet. Because that dude was flying, and his car was fucked. I don't even remember what kind of car it was. I think it was red. Maybe it wasn't even red. I don't remember. I just saw it for a brief second, then it was down the road, and it was smashed to shit. I thought, fuck, I just saw someone die. And then the guy, so I pulled over. The rest of the convoy kept going because they didn't know shit. They didn't. Not paying attention to anything, and it didn't hit any of them. And then finally, I don't know, the sergeant in charge of that, he was driving a Humvee, maybe it was a Humvee, I don't remember. He came back over and, you know, he was hanging out with me and asked if I hit anything. And then I'm looking, I was like, I think that dude's dead. And then he jumps out of his car and he runs up. This German guy, probably my age, and that time I was, you know, 19, 20, 21, pretty young. And he comes out, hey man, want a cigarette? And he gives me a cigarette. He says, wow, that was crazy. Like he was cool with the truck driver whose fault it was, who pulled out because he wasn't looking. He was cool to everyone, gave me a cigarette, and he was fine. He didn't even seem that upset about his car getting destroyed. And he did tell me one thing. He said, you know what, man? I just got that car yesterday. And he was happy, smiling. So good for him. I don't think I would have been in that kind of mood at that time. My second story involves, this happened when I was driving for Schneider, about, you know, 27 to 29 years ago, roughly. When I got out of the Army, I took a few months off to relax because the Army was a lot of work. And I got out, I took a couple months off, like I'm doing now, and before getting another job. And of course, when I did get another job, it was driving trucks. And if you join the Army to learn how to drive a truck, don't do that, because yeah, they'll teach you. That's how I learned to back up, back a trailer, you know, move it, control it in the Army. But other than that, that's all you're gonna learn. And they don't count that shit towards a civilian license in the US. So they don't count that for anything. And so I was driving for Schneider. I had to go through their training program. A while back ago, we drove those cab overs. And I was thinking about doing another video. God, that scared me. It's there, hot tub. I was thinking about doing another video comparing them, but I'm getting tired of truck driving videos. Almost done with them. Move on to something else, I think. But I drive for Schneider, and I was younger, and I guess I was attractive to maybe gay people at the time. But I pulled up to this fuel, you know, I pulled up to fuel, and I guess my partner was asleep in the back. Maybe I didn't have a partner at that time. Most of the time I drove for Schneider for 2 years. I was teaming, but maybe, you know, 5-6 months of that I was driving solo. But so I pulled up, got out of the car, or got out of the truck, you know, and started fueling, and there's a guy in the next fuel lane, and he goes, and he says, he's blah, 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 and he's pointing at something, and I'm looking at him, and it looked like he blew me, he went, but you know, I wasn't sure, he was, I don't know, maybe 20 feet away or something, I wasn't that sure, but he's mumbling something, I couldn't understand what he was saying, so I walked closer, and I said, I'm sorry, what was that? And then we're pretty close, and he goes, hey man, you got you got something in your tire there, and then he goes, like, I clearly saw it that time, and I look over, and there's this huge spike sticking out of one of my tires. I was like, "Oh shit, thanks, man." And then I thought it was weird as fuck, so I said, "All right, thanks, man. Later," and I left. That's the end of that story. Third story happened recently. I don't know, within the last year, maybe a little over a year, when I was driving for Heartland, and basically. Happened, it was last winter, so I'm guessing December 2023 or January 2024, maybe even February 2024. Northeast Washington, I was on this 2-lane highway. I don't remember what highway it was. I believe it was north of, what's that? I believe it was in the northeastern section of the state, probably. And I'm driving along, and I see way up ahead of me, I see this cop has someone pulled over. So in my head, I'm thinking, God, that dick. And they're kind of still almost on the road. I mean, they're tired. The left side of their vehicle's tires are on the line on the side of the road. And I was like, ah, fuck, why are they doing that? So I get over a little, no one's coming this way. So I get over, I'm basically right in the middle of the road. So I didn't get completely over into the other lane with traffic coming this way. But, I'm in the middle of the road. I didn't want to be too close to when I passed. And of course I slowed down, and that saved a lot of people that I decided to slow down. I was maybe driving 60 before that. I don't know what the speed limit was, but it was also winter. There was no black ice on the road, but there's a lot of ice and snow on the side of the road, which is why when the cop pulled that person over, they weren't that far over, because there's a lot of snow and ice and shit over there. And so the cop pulled him over. I'm going over. I slow down to maybe. It was also going around a turn, so I was like, I slowed down to probably 30, 35 miles per hour passing them. Also, I didn't want the cop to get mad at me for passing too quickly. And I'm in the middle of the road, taking up part of my directions lane and part of the oncoming directions lane in the middle of the road. And then I get closer and closer, and I start to pass him, and I'm watching him. And the cop's pissed off. He's going back from the other vehicle to his vehicle, and he's like, I could tell he's angry. I was like, oh, dude, chill out. What the fuck, what's your problem? Then I realized what his problem was. He had pulled over a complete fucking moron. Because this bitch, right as I'm up there, she pulls out right the fuck in front of me. Right in front of me. And I slammed on the brakes, and I guess I'd forgotten to latch my hood that morning, because I did a pretty good pre-trip that morning. Can't say I did one every morning, but I did that morning. I guess I forgot to latch the hood. So I slammed on the brakes, and the trailer starts to jackknife a little, going, because I had to slam on them hard. That dumb bitch pulled right the fuck out in front of me, and then the hood starts to pop up, because I didn't realize till at that point that I hadn't really latched it. It comes halfway up and then slams back down, and I come to a stop, and that bitch just keeps fucking going. So collect myself a little, like fuck. And then, I start to go again. Of course, the cop sped by me. I got back in the normal lane I was supposed to be. The cop sped by me. And, I'd got out and I made sure it was latched this time. The cop sped by me, and he pulled over that lady again. I guess she made it pretty far, but he sped by me, pulled over, and I passed him the next time. He was standing, and they had pulled way over this time, so I had plenty of room. I still slowed down, but I didn't have to get in the other lane. They had plenty of room. And his face was red, and he was yelling and screaming at her. And she deserved it. And I hope she went to jail, because she does not belong on the fucking road, I tell you that. I didn't script those, as you could tell, the way I rambled through them. But yeah, I'm going to add some, you've probably already seen them. I'm going to add some AI images just for the hell of it to those. Also, I have a new channel, From the Depths of Tartarus. It's a story channel. Might do live action there at some point, but right now it's just stories. So check it out, please. I'll put a link in the description. Thanks for watching this video. I don't know if this was any good, but I've been wanting to do it for a while. I got other stories, but they're roughly equivalent to those stories I told, which aren't extremely interesting. Okay, let me tell you one more story. This isn't a truck driving story. I was in the Army. I just joined the Army, and I went through basic, and then I got to Germany, Mannheim, Germany, where I spent basically 4 years in 150th Transportation Company, and then later 69th Transportation Company. It was shortly after I got there. My buddies thought it would be hilarious to send me a package, which I thought was unusual when I got it. And my dumb ass went and told all my Army buddies, like, hey man, my friend sent me a package. Because it was, I don't know, Friday night or whatever, we're all drinking beer in the barracks before we went out to, I don't know, go out to some German bar and drink, or there's a German club we used to go to, Skyline. But we were all drinking beer in the barracks, getting ready. We'd all just gotten off work. Most people were going out somewhere. And hey, I got a package from my friends. It's weird. And so I get to my room, and on the package, I know my friend Mark, you've met him before on this channel, and another friend you haven't met before. It was from them. They thought it was funny. And it's on the package, it said sausage. So I don't know why I told all my Army buddies to come watch me open this. And not everyone in the barracks came, but there were 5 or 6 people near my bed. I say, hey, wow, I got a package. Ooh, what'd you get? And they come over and look. And I open it up, and my friends thought it was so fucking hilarious. Oh, just send that. So of course my Army buddies looked at me a little weird after that. Thanks, fuckers. Thanks for doing that. I still haven't got them back for that. Let me know in the comments, if you even watch this fucking video, how I should get them back for that prank they played like 33 years ago. First of all, I need you to answer something.
They sent you an 8-inch black dildo.